Last week, we saw how to estimate the value of a bond between two coupon payment dates. We said that we have to follow 3 steps. The first one is to compute the value of the bond just after the payment of the previous coupon. It means after receiving or after eliminating the previous coupon, what is the total price, the full price of the bond. And this is not new. We know how to estimate the value of any bond at the date of the payment of any coupon. Then the new thing that we need to make is to estimate the number of days between the desired date, the current date, for example, or the date at which we want to compute the value of the bond, which is between two coupon payment dates, and the date of the previous coupon payment. And we need the actual number of days convention, count, of course. Then we capitalize, if you want, the computed price in the first step. We multiply it by 1 plus the yield to maturity, the market interest rate at this moment, power the number of days between the last coupon payment date and the current date, or the desired date, over the total number of days during the period. It could be a semester or a year according to the feature of the bond. And we did this application, example 11, in which we are asked to compute the value of the bond on February 7, 2014, knowing that at this date the yield to maturity, the interest rate of the market, is 11%. In this case, since we can't directly compute the value of the bond between two coupon payment dates, we compute its value at the date of the payment of the previous coupon, which is January 1st, 2014. Simply, we know that we still have two interest payments, two coupon payments. This will, and at this date, the yield to maturity is 11%, RD is 11%. We simply substitute these values in our formula to estimate the value of the bond on 1/1/2014. Then we computed the number of days between the previous coupon payment date, January 1st, 2014, and the desired date, February 7, 2014. We have 37 days. Then we compute the total number of days between two coupon payment dates, January 1st, 2014, and the next one, which is July 1st, 2014. We have 180 days. Then we simply capitalize the calculated price on 1/1/2014 to the desired date using RD as interest rate and the number of days computed in the second step. We have here the full price of the bond, also called the dirty price. This full price is equal to the clean price, the price without the accrued interest, plus the interest accrued. To compute the interest accrued, we know the interest for the semester, which is $50. $50 represent the interest for 180 days. So the interest for simply the 37 days from the previous coupon payment date and the desired date is simply 50 over 180 times the 37 days. You get the accrued interest. To compute the clean price, or the flat price, we call it also, we subtract from the full price this accrued interest. You get the clean price. Another example, example 12, we have an annual pay bond, coupon rate 6%, the required yield to maturity is 7%, the issue date of the price is March 1st, 2015, and the maturity is after 5 years. So it would be March 1st, 2020. The par value is $100. First question, is the bond issued at premium, at a discount, or at par? Simply, we have to compare the coupon rate with the required yield to maturity, since this bond offers an interest, a coupon lower than the required yield to maturity. This bond must be sold at a discount. And what is the value of this bond? Its issue date. We simply use the traditional formula of the valuation. The coupon rate is 6% times the par value, you get the annual interest. You have 5 years to maturity. We discount these interests using the required rate of return, which is 7%, and we discount the par value that the bond will pay to the holder 5 years from now. You get the value of the bond, $95.9, and this confirms the fact that this bond is issued at a discount, since it is less, its value is less than its par value. Then, in the third question, we're asked to calculate the bond price on March 1st, 2016. So 1 year after the issuance of this bond, after the payment of the coupon. So the value after receiving the coupon, when we eliminate the coupon. So this would be a clean price, a price without the coupon, assuming that the yield to maturity is 7.5% on that date. So we will use the new required rate of return, and now the number of coupons to be received by the bondholders is 4 coupons or only, because we are computing its value 1 year after the issuance. So the number of years until maturity, number of coupon payment until maturity is 4 here. We compute the value of the bond. We find $94.98. Now, calculate the bond price, the full price, then the clean price, on June 5th, 2017, assuming that the yield to maturity is 6.5% on that date. So, if we observe the timeline, June 5th, 2017, we have here June 5th, 2017. To be able to estimate the value of the bond on June 5th, 2017, we need to estimate its value at the date of the previous coupon payment date, the previous coupon payment is distributed on March 1st, 2017. So we need to estimate its value March 1st, 2017 first. Then we compute the number of days between the previous coupon payment date from March 1st, 2017 to June 5th, 2017. The total number of days during the year between the two coupon payment dates from March 1st, 2017, March 1st, 2018. Then we capitalize the price computed on March 1st, 2017 using the new RD 6.5% and using the days computed here. So the first step, as I said, is to compute the value of the bond on March 1st, 2017. On March 1st, 2017, the value of the bond is the number of coupons to be received, which is now 3 coupons only from 2017 to 2020. You have 1 coupon on March 1st, only 3-1, March 1st, 2018, March 1st, 2019, March 1st, 2020. We have 3 coupons. Okay, 3 instead of 1 here. 3 coupons plus the par value. You get the value of $98.68. Then we compute the number of days between March 1st, 2017 and June 5th, 2017. 31 days March, 30 days April. So you have April 31 days March plus 31 days for قلنا احنا جول the date here March 1st until June 5th. 5 days for June. As we know, we need to subtract the one day, the last day, the day of the transaction. We get 96 days. The total number of days between the two coupon payment dates from March 1st, 2017 to March 1st, 2018 would be 365. We capitalize the price computed here using the current RD and the number of days computed. You find the full price 100.32. As I said, as I explained during the previous session, the price of the bond here is higher than its par value. It's not because the bond is a premium bond. No, the bond is not a premium bond. The bond here is still a discount bond because the interest rate paid by the bond called the coupon is less than the yield to maturity. But the value of the bond is relatively high than it should be because simply of the accrued interest. The interest of these 96 days. The interest of the 96 days called the accrued interest is equal to $1.58. So the clean price on June 5th, 2017 is only 98.74, and this confirms the fact that the bond is a discount bond because, as I said, the coupon rate is less than the required yield to maturity. Is it clear, Yasmin? Do you have questions? Any questions?
Clear, sir.
Back. Now, as you notice, to compute the full price, we simply take the valuation, the ordinary valuation, if you want, of the bond that assumes that the price is computed at the date of the coupon payment. Then we capitalize it by multiplying it by 1 plus RD power number of days between the previous coupon payment date and the desired date over the total number of days of the period. So simply, if you want to avoid using these steps, the calculation of the full price, you can simply take this formula, which is the valuation model, the classic valuation model, where you multiply it by 1 plus RD power. We will call T the number of days between the previous coupon payment date and the desired date, and capital T simply the total number of days in the period. Simply by computing the value of the stock using the traditional formula here, discounted interest and the discounted par value, using RD and the total number of interests remaining until the maturity. You take this formula, this is the step 1, and you multiply it by 1 plus RD power T over capital T. This mathematically is equal to this formula because the number of during the period, the first coupon will be received not after the a whole period. One is after a period minus the number of days that elapses from the previous coupon payment date and the current date, if you want, or the desired date. So from each period, each power, we subtract the number of days that elapsed from the previous coupon payment date and the current date. كأنه هون يا جماعة باش نجي, for example, to compute the value of the bond في June 5th, باش نجي نقول if I apply the formula the traditional formula اللي هي 6 discounted 6 discounted 6 discounted 100 discounted. ما هو 6 هذه is one period from now. لا ما هيش one period كاملة، هي one period minus t over the capital T. والثاني is 2 periods minus t over capital T. والثالثة plus the last the par value after 3 periods but minus t over the capital T. هذا هو في الفورمولا هذه نتاعنا هكا 2 minus t over capital T and minus t over capital T 1 minus t over capital T. معناها نجمو if you want to apply or to compute the full price directly, you can use the alternative formula. Simply it will allow you to directly compute the full price. Then you subtract from this full price the accrued interest to get the clean price. But here, of course, you need to compute to determine T in the capital T, the number of days between the previous coupon payment date, the desired date, and the total number of days during the period. Okay, so for example, let's see how to apply this formula directly. A 5.8 semi-annual payment corporate bond that matures on February 14, 2027 is purchased for settlement on April 11, 2019. The coupon payments are 2.9 per 100 of par value, paid on February 14 and August 14, each 6 months. The yield to maturity is 6%. Calculate the full and the flat price of the bond. It's here. From April 11, 2019 to February 17, 2027. How many coupons are remaining? How many payment of interest is remaining? We have here 16 semi-annual payment of interest remaining. So simply, if we want to compute the value of the bond on April 11, 2019, we need simply to compute its value at the date of the previous coupon payment. The previous date, well, the most recent coupon received, if we are on April 11, 2019, is February 14, 2019. So the value of the bond on February 14, 2019 is equal to the future interest to be received, which are 16 interests of $2.9 each, and the par value 16 semesters from now. The yield to maturity is 6% annually, so RD over 2 is 3%. Simply, we compute the value of the bond on the previous coupon payment date, which is February 14, 2019. Then we need to compute the number of days between previous coupon payment date, which is February 14, 2019, and the desired date, April 11, 2019. Simply, we have the 56 days exactly. So from February 11, 2019, during the remaining number of days during February is 15 days. March, we have 31 days, and 11 days of April, and then we subtract the last day. You get 56 days. The total number of days from February 14, 2019 to August 14, 2019, you have 181 days exactly. So T is 56, capital T is 181. Simply to compute the full price, we should, as we said previously, capitalize this price 98.744 using RD of this date, which is 6%. So RD over 2 is 3%. Power T over capital T, power the number of days between the previous coupon payment date and the desired date over the total number of days during the period. You get a full price of $99.651. The accrued interest is the interest of for 56 days, which is simply 2.9 over 181 to get the interest for 1 day multiplied by 56. Subtracted from the full price, you get the clearing price. Or simply we can compute directly the full price by simply multiplying this value, this price, directly by 1 plus RD power T over capital T. If we use this formula, we can simply multiply the previous, if you want, valuation equation by 1 plus RD power T over capital T. You get the same value, or simply in the original formula, instead of dividing each interest and the par value by the full number of the if you want, the full period, which is 1, 2, 3, etc. From each timing, we need to subtract T over capital T, the number of days that elapsed from the previous coupon payment date and the current. كأنه كل future interest to be received باش يجيك مش بعد a full period، لا period نحي منها number of days اللي ديجا تعداو، كأنه باش تصير ديكالاج نتاعهم الكل باك 56 days over 181. هاك علاش كل باور نحيو منه هلا الديكالاج الصغير هذا. اوكي. You find the same price, of course. But do you have questions يا جماعة concerning the valuation of a bond between two coupon payment dates؟ قبل ما نكمل.
نسيو جست في الاكزامبل اللي فات.
هاي.
اسكو فيفري ديما ناخذوه 29 يوم مش 28؟
شنو قلت لي؟
فيفري ديما ناخذوه 29 يوم.
لا مش 29 يوم، استنى.
هو 14 فيفري ديما عملت بلس 15.
فانا الداتا احنا عملناها، سامح. احنا الديت نتاعنا هي 2000 2019 هكا ولا؟ باهي اش عندك احسبهم. 14 فبراير 14 نهار، 15 نهار، بالنهار احسبهم، خاطر 14 نهار و28 نهار.
اي فهمتك، واضح.
فهمتني ولا؟
اي
عبالك علاش بعد نحينا ماينس 1 نحن؟ خاطر ديما النهار الاخراني بعثلي في الاخر باش تنحي.
واضح.
واضح ولا مش؟
اي واضح مسيو، واضح.
يا راح شنو يخ قبل ما نقدم؟ Now, in all the previous examples, the bond that we are analyzing will pay to the holder of the bond constant interests and the par value of the maturity date. But some bonds pay no coupons at all. They do not pay interests during the intermediary dates, if you want. They pay only one amount at the maturity date. Since these bonds will not pay interest, or the intermediary, if you want, payments, you don't have intermediary payments, these bonds are called the zero coupon bonds. It doesn't mean that these bonds, when you buy this bond, you will not earn an interest. No. But the calculation of the amount that you will pay from the beginning to buy the bond and the amount that you receive is a little bit different. Here, these bonds, also called the zero coupon bonds, are bonds that, if you want, subtract the interest from the beginning. It means if you buy, for example, a zero coupon bond, the value of the bond, the value that you have to pay today to buy it, will be simply the present value of the par value. Because each bond has a par value. Par value, for example, $1,000, $100, $5,000, etc. But instead of paying a price which is close to 1,000 to the par value, and you know that each company tries to issue a bond at par from the beginning. It tries to adapt the coupon rate to the market interest rate to be able to sell the bond at its par value at the beginning. But here, the bond will not pay interest during the different periods. So here it would be a bond which is a discount bond, since its interest rate is zero, almost zero. So the value of the bond today will be if you take the traditional formula of valuation. باش نفهموها اكثر يا جماعه، ما نحبش نعطيك نطيش لك الفورمولا دايركتلي ونقول لك احفظ، لا نحبك تفهمها منين جات. Let's take this value of the bond. هذايا for example. The original value of the bond. Value of the bond today is the present value of the future interest and the par value. Since the interest of the bond is zero, in this case, interest will be zero. These intermediary payments will be zero. The bondholder will receive only the par value of the maturity. What will be the value, or the price he'll accept to pay today to buy your bond? It will be present value of the bond, simply the present value of the par value. We discount the par value using the market interest rate and the total number of periods that he must wait to receive this par value. So to estimate the value of this zero coupon bond, we discount the par value using the market interest rate. We don't have these interests. This is why we call it a pure discount bond, because simply its value is the discount value of the par value. We discount the par value using the market interest rate and the total number of years or of periods until the maturity. You get the value of this pure discount bond. We call it zero coupon bond ولا zeros. كل واحد شنو يسمى. Okay. Let's take an example of these zero coupon bond. Here, this pure discount bond will pay to the holder a single amount at the maturity date. Okay. Of course, اقراو الكلام اللي مكتوب هونية. How we call it a bullet or a zero, etc. Okay. هالكلام هذا اقراوه نجم نسألكم عليه باش نبداو واضحين. ما نجمش نقرا معكم كل شيء ونقول معكم كل شيء، ما فيه حد شيء. اوكي. Consider a zero coupon bond with a face value of $1 million. Another remark, these zero coupon bonds are mainly issued by governments. To simplify things, to avoid the payments and different payments, annual payments or semi-annual payment, the issue has zero coupon bond. They receive the money today and they pay only one amount at the maturity date. Here, the face value of the zero coupon bond, which is the par value, or this is the amount that will be reimbursed 20 years from now, is $1 million. Suppose that the required yield to maturity on this bond is 10%. What should be the value of this discount bond today? Simply is the present value of $1 million using 10% annual rate of return and 20 years until maturity. So here, the bondholder will pay today $148,643.628. He will receive only one amount 20 years from now equal to $1 million. Okay, and his annual rate of return is 10% annually. Is equivalent to receiving annually 10% return. This is called the pure discount. Do you have questions concerning the zero coupon payment, zero coupon bonds? تعديوا آخر حاجة عنا the callable bonds or redeemable bonds. احنا شنو حكينا بكري؟ قلنا when the companies they use bonds to borrow money to be able to finance investments. Now, when you sell the classic bonds, the traditional bonds without callable provision, well, call provision if you want, you sell the bond today, you have to pay to the bondholders interests each period, and you have to reimburse them the maturity value at the maturity date. Here, since the market interest rates fluctuate, so the required yield to maturity on the bonds may fluctuate over time. Only companies can sell what we call in finance callable bonds. Bonds that contain a call provision. This call provision gives the corporation, the issuing company, the right to call the bonds for redemption, for payment, for reimbursement prior to its date of maturity. When the company sells a callable bond, for example, with a maturity of 20 years, and the interest rate is 10%. Coupon rate is 10% because the market interest rates RD yield to maturity is 10% too. So we set a coupon rate equal to the market interest rates 10%. And this company will pay this interest annually, for example, and reimburse the maturity value, which is $1,000, for example, 20 years from now. But suppose that 1 year from now, from the issuance date, the market interest rates fall. معناتها RD ما عادش 10%, RD ولا 6% only. In this case, the company will continue to pay 10% annually as cost for these bonds until the maturity date, regardless to the market interest rates. So the company here will pay 4% extra interest compared to the new interest rates in the market. Here to be able to adapt their situation, their borrowing situation, to the market conditions, these companies created the callable bonds, and this option, if you want, to redeem, to reimburse, to call the bond prior to its maturity date. Donc شو باش يقولوا راهو we will sell you a bond with a maturity of 20 years with a coupon rate of 10%, but we have the right to buy back the bond from you, to call the bond, to reimburse the bond prior to its maturity date. For example, we have the choice, the option to reimburse you the par value, which is 1,000. اللي هي كانت 20 years from now. لا باش نقول لك we will reimburse you the bond مش 20 years from now. راهو we can reimburse it 3 years from now هكا باش نعطيوك 3 years هكا. For sure you will get the interest, but if the interest rates in the market fall, we can call these bonds, we can resell these bonds, buy back these bonds from you, for example, starting from year 3. Okay? Of course, we need to encourage investors to buy these callable bonds اللي فيهم هالاوبشن اللي هي ماهيش في صالحهم. خاطر انت تشري بوند اليوم معمله 10% interest during 20 years، يجي الكمباني اللي باعت لك البوند تقول لك بعد 3 سنين الانترست ريتس ولاو 6%، تقول لك بطلت راه ما عادش باش نعطيك هالانترست بعد العام الثالث، باش تاخذ انترست year 1 year 2 year 3، اخر العام الثالث راني باش نشتري من عندك البوند باش نفكها لك نخلصك فيها ونهزها، ما عادش باش نعطيك انترست من بعد. To encourage investors to buy these callable bonds, the companies, when they call their bonds, they pay a call premium. شنو هي الكول premium؟ معناتها they pay a price اللي هو نورمالمون يعطيوه par value at the maturity date. هما باش يعطيوك باش ياخذوها قبل الماتوريتي باش يعطيوك a value, a price higher than the par value, an amount greater than the par value, of course, but lower than the prices نتاعهم في الماركت وقتها. خاطر نعرفوا اللي these bonds وقت اللي الانترست ريت نتاعهم يكون كبير compared to the actual interest في الماركت، الفاليو تاع البونز هذوما باش يكبر برشا، خاطر الناس الكل تحب تشريهم، تقول هذا يعطي برشا interest compared to the current interest in the market. current interest هو 6% وما يعطيو 10، الناس الكل تحب تشريهم البونز هذوما، دونك البرايس نتاعهم باش يكون هاي. الكمباني ماهيش باش تعطيك البرايس هذاك نتاع اللي موجود في الماركت، باش تعطيك برايس صحيحه higher than the par value, higher than 1000 اما less than the actual price in the market. وكيفاش نحسبوها الكول بريميوم هذايا، هالاكسترا فاليو زايد على البار فاليو when the company calls their bond، يعطيوها in general 1 year of interest if the bond is called 1 year of the issuance. انا عملت لها issuance اليوم نورمالمون باش نرجع البار فاليو كان بعد 20 years، اما انا لا باش نعملها كول عام بعد اليوم، بعد عام هكاو. في الكيس هذايا لازمك تعوض للانفستور تعطيه برايس 1 year from now اللي هو البار فاليو بلس 1 year of interest. لو كان باش تعمل كول بعد عامين تعطيه هاك 1 year of interest minus البريودك interest اللي هو interest over n. كل عام هالبريميوم هذايا will decline at a constant rate equal to interest over n. N هي number of years until maturity, original maturity نتاع البond, for example هي 20 years. والinterest هو الانnual interest نتاعها. annual interest على 20 كل عام تنقص من شنو لازم تزيد over the par value to call your bond، نقص منها interest over n نتاع مرة نتاع عام نتاع اثنين نتاع ثلاثة حسب النقاط. For example, the call premium on a 1000 par value bond with 10 years until the maturity and 10% coupon rate would be قديش interest for 1 year. إذا can we call it 1 year from now, the interest of 1 year هي 10% times the par value هي $100. So you have to pay for 1 year from now to the bondholder in addition to the interest نتاعو، in addition to the interest باش تزيدوا interest نتاع 100 زي دي، تعطيه $100 interest هذاك حقه، والبار فاليو في عوض ما تعطيه بار فاليو to buy back البوند من عنده to redeem the bond when you call it تعطيه 1000 وتزيدها 100 أخرى of interest. هذا if you call it 1 year from now. If you call the bond 2 years from now 2 years from now باش تعطيه interest بعد عام، باش تعطيه interest آخر بعد في العام الثاني، وفي آخر العام الثاني if you call the bond باش تعطيه البار فاليو نتاعو 1000 فوقها 100 ماينس interest نتاع عام آخر. سامحوني interest over n times 1 interest over n اللي هي 100 over n اللي هي over 10 years 100 over 10 years هي $10. دونك باش تعطيه $90 more than the par value. العام الاول تعطيه 100 كاملين زايدين، العام الثاني تعطيه 90 اكاو 100 minus 10. كان تعمل الكول في العام الثالث تعطيه ال 1000 اللي هي البار فاليو وتزيد عليها لازمك $80 اللي هي 100 minus 2 years of interest over n 2 times interest over n etc. okay. هذا how to set in general. مش هذا اللي موجود في الريال لايف زاد ديما لازم، هذا مش قرآن راه مش قانون. in general هذا معمول به but from the beginning نتفاهموا مع في الاشيوس نحطوا هالديتيلز هذوما الكل. اذا كان هي كولابل بوند نقولوا قداش باش يصير الكول، هاو الكول برايس قداش. اوكي. Here of course that to encourage investors to buy these callable bonds ما نقولولوش راهم بعت لك اليوم البوند نجم نعملها كول بعد نهارين ولا بعد شهر ولا بعد 6 اشهر ولا بعد عام، لا نعطيوه period for example 5 years to 10 years اللي البوند نتاعهم will not be called. دونك كيفاش نبيعوها اليوم نقولوا له راهو الكول could take place it's an option مش ديما باش تصير could take place 5 years from now مش قبل 5 years 6 years 7 years from now. هذه نسميوها a deferred call. معناها عندها في البوند هذيا عندها a call protection cannot be called before 5 years from the issuance date. Okay. Now when the company uses a call option, the call option is used as I said when the interest rates in the market drop, when we have a high decrease in the interest rates of the market, to reduce the cost of the money borrowed, the company can make what we call the refunding operation. شنو هي refunding operation? Suppose a company sold bonds when interest rates were relatively high, كانوا 10%. والبونز هذول are callable bonds of course. The company could issue new bonds when the interest rates in the market fall. Suppose كانوا 10% interest rate لو ولاو 6% only. مش يعملوا الكمباني مش تعمل. It will profit from the new interest rates اللي هما low. The cost of borrowing money is relatively low, ولا 6% account. They issue new bonds. They use the amount collected to, if you want, reimburse the old bonds. نبيع new bonds نعطي عليهم 6% interest annually أكاهو. الاماونت اللي خذيته وقت اللي بعت البونز هذوما is used to buy back to call the old bonds خاطر يعطيو برشا interest يعطيو 10% interest. وهكا هوني I can reduce the interest expense نتاعي. Of course هذا will happen only if the interest rates in the market drop. And of course this operation is profitable كان للinvestors. The bondholders ماهوش في صالحهم. So this is good for the company but not for the bondholders. Is it clear يا جماعة؟
Yes.
اجا نشوفوا ناخذوا example باش نفهموا بيه كيفاش تصير الاوبريشن. Suppose a company decides to borrow $10 million in the bond market. The bond's coupon rate is 8%. Of course, we can't change the coupon rate. The coupon rate is set, is subscribed في الفيس of the bond نتاعك محطوط 8%. The company's management believe interest rates will go down during the 7-year term of the bond. Donc, قالوا, since we expect that the interest rates will drop, let's issue a callable bond, a bond with a call provision, to take advantage of potential lower rates in the future. Under the terms of the bond, the company has the option to call the bonds, to reimburse the bond, to buy back the bonds from the bondholders any time after year 3. Donc هوني عنا اللي سميناها لهنا هاك الكول بروتكشن. Call protection تاع 3 years. You can't buy it before 3 years. مليار فورت نجم. However, if it decides to exercise this right of calling the bonds, it needs to pay bondholder a call price higher than the par value. Par value here 1,000. The company should pay 1,020 for every $1,000 of principal. What happened إنه after year 4, interest rates fall to 6%. كانوا 8%, now 6% the interest rate. The company, of course, will profit from this drop in the interest rates and try to reduce the expenses نتاعها, the interest expenses. باش تعمل, the company exercises its right to call the 8% bonds, will buy back the 8% bonds. And how to raise funds to be able to buy back these 8% bonds? By issuing new bonds that will pay the current interest rate of the market, اللي هو 6% interest only. Calculate the amount saved by the company if bonds are called. احنا قلنا the company decides to borrow $10 million at the beginning. So it needs $10 million. If the par value of each bond is 1,000, the company issued 10,000 old bonds with 8% coupon rate. So the number of bonds that the company must buy back, must redeem, if you want, must call, هو 10,000 bonds. But the price at which the company should buy back these bonds هو 1,020 instead of 1,000. For each 1,000, you must pay 1,020. فما call premium. How much should the company borrow now to be able to buy back the old bonds? The company must buy, if you want, borrow $10.2 million. اللي هما 10,000 bonds. Each bond will be bought at 1,020. Donc we need $10.2 million. الاوبريشن هذايا انه initially you borrowed $10 million and now you need to pay $10.2 million to buy these bonds. هذايا عندنا فيها cost of course، عندنا loss هوني. حال من الاول خذيت 10 مليون، انا باش نرجع تويك 10.2 مليون خاطر عندي كول بريميوم، هذا هوني خاسر، انا عندي loss. But the gain now, what is the source of the gain? The source of the gain انه to buy to sell to receive these $10.2 million to be able to buy back the old bonds. We need to issue how many new bonds? We issue the bonds at par, of course. The interest rate is equal to the current yield to maturity. The coupon rate was 6%. باش تبيعهم 1,000 each bond. Donc you need to issue 10,200 new bonds with 6% coupon rate. 10,200 new bonds. The coupon rate نتاعهم is 6%. The par value is 1,000. So you have to pay annually $612,000 to the bondholders if you decide to issue 10,200 new bonds past 6% coupon rate. Compared to the previous, or to the old bond issued with 8% coupon rate, we issued 10,000 bonds now. Coupon rate is 8% times the par value. You pay $800,000 annually as interest for the old bonds. What is your interest saving now? Annually, you save $800 minus $612,000. Annually, you have $188,000 saved. Only during how many years you can save $188,000? During 3 years. خاطر في year 4 you can issue ولا you decided to issue a new bonds. Donc تاع year 5 و 6 و 7, year 5, 6, 7, you will pay $612,000 interest instead of $800 if you call the old bonds. So you save $188,000 annually during 3 years. What is the total amount saved? You save $188,000 during 3 years, but from the beginning, when you decide to issue new bonds to borrow $10.2 million to be able to reimburse bonds sold initially at 10 million only, عندنا loss هوني وعندنا gain هوني، مع بعضهم نلقاو the total amount saved by this company when it refinances the borrowing نتاعها is $364,000. هذايا amount ولا decrease في الانترست اكسبانس اوف ذا كامباني خاطر عملت هالاوبريشن هذا. Is it clear يا جماعه؟
Yes.
Now, of course, the call of the bond is profitable للcompany. ما هوش profitable للborrower, للبوند هولدر. خاطر البوند هولدر يساعده انه ياخذ اللي yield to maturity annually، انه كي ياخذ بوند تعطيه 10% annually يقعد ياخذ 10% until the maturity. Suppose now that the bond is called. ما عندوش الحق يقعد حتى للماتوريتي وياخذ في الانترست والماتوريتي فاليو. دونك شنو ولاو الفيوتشر amounts that the holder of the bond will receive. هو كان يشري البوند بالبي في نتاعها today. Each year ياخذ interest until the maturity. وياخذ الماتوريتي فاليو اللي هي البار فاليو في الماتوريتي ديت. But suppose that the bond is a callable bond. In this case, خاطر interest rates in the market are well below the coupon rate of the bond, the company will try to take profit of this new situation to reduce the expenses باش تعمل كال نتاع البوند نتاعها. في الكيس هذايا عندك كال ديتس ما عادش الماتوريتي، ما عادش تقعد تاخذ interest of the bond as a bond holder until the call date. دونك الان نتاعنا هي call date ما عادش number of years until maturity ولا number of interests until the call date. وفي ال call date you will not receive the par value of the bond, you will receive a value higher than the par value, we call it the call price. What will be your annual rate of return if you buy a callable bond knowing the call date نتاعك وال call price نتاعك؟ Simply هو the annual discount rate that makes the value you paid initially to buy the bond equal to what you will receive from the bond until its call date. Donc في الكيس هذايا باش تاخذ interest حتى للcall date والcall price تعمل لهم discounting. الديسكاونتينج هذايا the particular discount rate that makes the value that you will receive in the future equal to what you paid initially هذاك هو ال IRR of the callable bond اللي يسميوه yield to call ما عادش yield to maturity اللي هو interest rate annual average interest rate until the call date مش until the maturity date. Donc yield to maturity is the annual rate of return that you expect to earn if you hold the bond until the maturity date. Yield to call is the annual rate of return that you expect to earn if the bond is called at a particular call date. And the same logic, the same calculation, كل شيء كيف كيف. For example, a 10-year, 10% annual coupon bond selling for 1,134.2 can be called in 4 years for 1,050. The par value is 1,000. What is the bond yield to maturity? If you hold the bond until the maturity, if the bond is not called 4 years from its issuance, what will be your annual rate of return if you buy this bond at $1,134.2 today? Your yield to maturity is simply the particular discount rate that makes what you will receive in the future equal to what you paid initially. نكتبوا الايكويشن تاعنا هكا ونعملوا linear interpolation ونطلعوا yield to maturity. في الكيس هذا yield to maturity تاعنا is 80%. It's simple to compute. ده of course كيفاش حسبناهم ترجع للديتيلز في ال previous examples. Since the bond is a premium bond, the price نتاعها أكبر من 1,000. Of course the yield to maturity باش يكون less than the coupon rate. باش تلقى أقل من 10%. جربنا 9 جربنا 8 عطاتني بالضبط البرايس نتاعي. Donc yield to maturity is 8%. Suppose now that the bond is called. What will be your yield to call. If the bond will be called, what you expect to earn as a return. In this case, you will receive 100 1 year from now, 100 2 years from now, another 100 years from now, and at the call date, which is 4 years from now, you will receive the last interest, your last interest, plus the call price of the bond, 1,050 instead of 1,000 the par value. You paid initially 1,134.2, and you receive this in the future. What will be your annual rate of return, your IRR, if you want? Of course, we tried different values of the yield of the discount rate. We make the linear interpolation as we did for the yield to maturity. You get an annual rate of return of 7.154. This is your average rate of return. This is your yield to call. This is your average rate of return if the bond is called. Here, the question is, if you bought these premium bonds, because this bond is a premium bond, its price is higher than its par value because the interest rate is higher than the coupon rate, than the yield to maturity and then the market interest rates. Would you be more likely to earn the yield to maturity or the yield to call? Of course, if you buy a premium bond, the probability that this bond will be called by the issuer is high. So investors should expect a call. So their yield will be the yield to call, not the yield to maturity. Here, the company could raise money by selling new bonds which pay 7.154% only interest instead of 10%. They can reduce the interest expense. In this case, the company can replace the bonds which pay 10% interest, معناتها $100 per year, with bonds that pay only 7.154% هكا اللي هما $71.54 per year على كل bond. So هوني, when the bond is a premium bond, the possibility or the probability of calling it, if it was a callable bond, is high. So you should expect to earn the yield to call, not the yield to maturity. هكا ليش قلنا هوني هل call provision is valuable for the firm, but it is potentially detrimental to the investors. It's not profitable to investors. Okay? بقى يكون الخيل when interest rates go up, what will happen? Investors will profit from this. If the interest rates go up, simply the company will not call the bonds. We call the bonds to profit from the new interest low. If the interest rates in the market go up, if you issue new bonds, you have to issue new bonds with a rate equal to the market interest rate or close to the market interest rate اللي هما high. So it's not logic to issue new bond اللي عندها a higher cost بالنسبة للcompany. So the company will not call the bond. Will investor, will he receive the new interest of the market? Of course, no. The investor will receive the original coupon rate اللي تفهم معاه وقت اللي يشتري البوند. So even when the interest rates in the economy have rising, the investor, the bondholder, will still receive the old interest اللي هما موجودين اللي هو الكوبون rate of the bond. So interest rates كيف يطلعوا, the investor will not receive anything additional return. But if interest rates fall, in this case, the company will try to profit from this drop in the interest rates by calling the bonds that pay a high interest from the investors. In this case, when the company call this bond from you as an investor, you will receive the call price, of course, and you have to invest, or you'll try to reinvest this amount, or the amount received in new bonds. But the new bonds of the market are issued at the new rates اللي هما low interest rates. Donc في الكيس هذايا you will invest your money at a rate اللي هو lower than the original rates. In other words, the investor loses when interest rates go up, but doesn't reap the gain when rates fall. Well, all the cases نلقاو اللي في الكولابل bonds الكمباني هي اللي تربح. الاوبشن هذايا ساعد الكمباني عملت في مصلحة الكمباني. Okay. So when is the call more likely to occur? As I said, the call is more likely to occur when the bond is a premium bond. The interest rate نتاعها high. Risk إنه interest rate اللي هما high. والmarket interest rate إنه يزيد يطيح. Will be called is high. Donc in this case, investors are expected to receive yield to call on premium bonds, will yield to maturity on par ولا on discount bonds. هذاك يبداو البونز او discount bonds. دونك من الاول الانترست ريت نتاعهم هو less than the market interest rate. حتى كي الماركت انترست ريت يزيد يطيح شويه ديما يقعد ماهوش اصغر من الكوبون ريت اوف ذا بوند. دونك البونز هذوما are not called in general. Do you have questions يا جماعه؟
مسيو نجم يعمل كول بوند معناتها ياخذ الفلوس اللي يشري بيهم ويعاود يشري وقت الانترست.
على شكون تحكي انت تو؟ قل لي انت شكون؟ انفستر ولا مال كومباني؟ ليشور ولا الانفستر؟ بوند هولدر شكون؟
انفستر.
شبيه الانفستر؟ عاود لي كلامك.
نجم ياخذ الفلوس اللي دفعها ويعاود كي الانترست يطلع في السوق معناتها يعاود يشري بوند اخرى والانترست عالي.
اي ينجم يقعد يستنى حتى يطلع الانترست. انت باش تاخذ الانترست نتاعك اليوم، باش تاخذ الكول برايس اليوم 1050 فور اكزامبل، باش تعمل بيهم؟ باش تخليهم عندك في جيبك تقعد تستنى الانترست ريت في الماركت يطلع باش تعاود تشري بوند اخرى؟ قداش تقعد تستنى؟ انت متاكد اللي هو باش يطلع بعد باش تخبيهم تحت المخده نتاعك حتى تستنى حتى الانترست ريت يطلع؟ ما فماش حاجه اسمها تايم فاليو اوف ماني، وقت باش يضيع عليك عاد لازمك تاخذ اي انترست مهما كان، حتى اذا كانوا 1% خير من اللي ما تاخذش انترست جمله وترقد فلوسك في تحت المخده نتاعك. قرينا احنا اول درس نتاعنا مهما كانوا الانترست ريتس موجودين لازمني جو بروفيت منه الانترست ريت. اذا كان ما عنديش الترناتيف انفستمنت باش نحط فيه فلوسي. فهمتني ولا؟
ما فهمتنيش. اني نقصد معناتها هو ديجا عنده بوند اما لكن الانترست نتاعها اقل معناتها
اي شنو يعمل؟
فلوس ياخذ في انترست صغيره معناتها، ولكن هو معناتها مازال فما عوام لازم ياخذ فيهم نفس الانترست اللي هو شويه.
اي شنو يعمل؟ اعطيني استراتيجي نتاعك. كيسكو تو بروبوز انت؟
اسكو نجم معناتها كيما الكامباني تعمل كول تقول له صاي باش ناخذ فلوسي، كيما هو نجم يعمل كول يقول هات فلوسي، نجم ولا؟
الكول هذايا بالنسبه للانفستر، بالنسبه للكامباني مش بالنسبه للانفسترز. الكول هذايا بالنسبه لوحده. فما اذا كاتيجوريز اوف بونز نشوف فيهم في الاخر فيهم واحد اللي يسميهم ذا بوتابل بونز، ما همش الكولابل بونز. فيهم put option. البوت option هي option to sell the bond to the company. ما همش هما الكالبل بونز، هذوما نسميهم بوتبل. فما بوت وفما كال. الكال انك تشري، بوت تبيع بالواحد. اوكي؟ واحده اوبشن تو سيل وواحده اوبشن تو باي. اما اللي نحكيو عليهم احنا اللي قريناهم احنا يسميهم كالبل بونز. هذه اوبشن عند الكمباني مش عند البوند هولدر. فهمتني ولا؟
فهمتك مسيو.
Other questions يا جماعه؟ سي بون نجم نقدموا؟
Yes.
طيب. Microdrive issued a 15-year 10% annual coupon bond with $1,000 par value. 1 year after the issuance, the going interest rate, the market interest rate, had declined from 10% to 5%. Of course, هذايا ما يصيرش ياسر راهو في الريل لايف. راهو في الريل لايف الانترست ريتس يتيحوا بشوي بشوي مش من 10 ل 5% unless صارت كرايسيس ولا صارت حكايه كبيره. Causing the price of the bonds to rise to $1,494.93. علاش؟ خاطر your bond is paying 10% interest while the market interest is only 5%. Of course الناس الكل تحب تاخذ البوند هذايا اللي تعطي اكثر interest rate من الماركت. علاش الفاليو نتاعها is 1494 اللي هو نورمال لازم يكون 1000. If you bought this bond 1 year after issuance at a price of $1,494.93, what rate of interest would you earn on your investment if you hold it to maturity? Of course يا جماعة, if you buy the bond at this price اللي هو $1,493.94, you receive the old interest, the coupon rate اللي عمره ما يتبدل 10% annually until the maturity date. The maturity date هي 14 years from now. خاطر the bond maturity هي 15 years but you bought it 1 year after its issuance. So the number of years remaining until maturity is 14 years. Now, simply هوني شنو نعمل؟ We tried different discount rates. We try to find the particular value of the discount rate that makes what the company will repay to the bondholder in the future equal to the current price of the bond. جربناها عملنا الليري انتربوليشن نلقاو اليل تو ماتوريتي نتاعنا هو 5%. So your annual rate of return if you buy the bond at this price and you hold it until maturity is 5%. But now, suppose that the company had the provision to redeem, to call the bonds. هاك البونز هذوما نتاعنا اللي بعتهم الكمباني can be called if desired of course 10 years after the issue date. دونك عندنا كانه الكول بروفيجن فيها 10 years انك ما you can't buy the bond قبل 10 years من issuance. If you want to if the company decides to call it ما تنجمش تعمل call كان after 10 years من issuance. والcall price هو قداش؟ كما قلنا الcall price ديما higher than the par value but less than the price. The current price. Donc the current price هوني هو 1100. عندك premium تاع 100. Suppose further that 1 year after the issuance, the interest rates in the market اللي كانوا 10% declined to 5% only. of course هذايا خلى value of the bond, the price of the bond يطلع برشا ولا 1494.93 كما قلنا، خاطر yield to maturity RD is low 5% والinterest is 10%, coupon rate is 10%. In this case, calculate the yield to call of this bond. Of course كما قلنا البوند هذه فيها a call provision. The call provision تقول ان البوند can be called 10 years after the issuance. انت باش تشريها 1 year after the issuance 1494.93. The company can call the bond كما قلنا 10 years after the issuance، معناتها 9 years من الديت اللي شريت فيها انت البوند من عام. انت شريتها 1 year after the issuance. So the call date هي 9 years from now. والcall price هو 1100. Of course the coupon is the same ديما 10% ما يتبدلش. If you buy the bond at 1494.93, you receive 109 times and you receive 1109 years from now. Your annual rate of return, we use the linear interpolation, of course, هوني. We tried different values of the discount rate. نشوفوا أنا اللي تعطينا الإيكواليتي هذه. Linear interpolation عطاتنا yield to call 4.21%. This is the return that you would earn if you bought the bond at this price, but the bond is called 9 years from today. In this case, you note that the yield to call 4.21 is less than the yield to maturity اللي هو 5%. When as an investor you expect to earn انهم اليالد to maturity ولا yield to call. Of course لازم تحسب حسابك انك راهو الكمباني can call the bond 9 years from now to profit from the decrease in the discount rate to reduce the interest expenses نتاعها. دونك تقرا حسابك اللي annual rate of return نتاعك will be 4.21% not 5%. Because the probability that this bond will be called by the issuer is very high. Do you think that the company will call the bonds when they become callable or no? كما كنت نجاوب فيكم تو. Of course, yes. The company depends on the action depends on the going interest rates when the bond become callable. Of course, the call باش يصير كان 10 years from now. If 10 years from now the interest rates قعدوا هكاكا 5% طايحين والا اقل من 10% اللي عطيناهم احنا اللي خرجنا بهم وقت الايشونس. خاطر ايش وقت الايشونس الانترست ريتس في الماركت كانوا 10%. اذا في الكول ديت وقت اللي الاوبشن نتاعنا can be exerted by the company نتاعنا. If the interest rate for market is less than the 10%, the company can profit from this decrease in the interest rates of the market and will apply an option نتاعها will exert the option نتاعها. إذا كانوا for example 5% قعدت كيما توا, the company can save each month each year $50 على كل بوند. دونك شوف انت الديكريس في الكاست نتاعك قداش. صحيح you have to pay البونز هذوما ولا الكال of the bond you have to pay 1100 for a bond اللي من الاول you sell it ب 1000. دونك عندك 100 هذايا تايمز شوف قداش من بوند انت بعت هذايا عندك additional cost بالنسبه لك انت. but من الجهه الاخرى عندك reduction في الانترست الانوال انترست reduction اللي قداش ب $50 annually during شوف انت قداش من year حتى للماتوريتي نتاعك اللي هو الماتوريتي نتاعنا قداش قال لنا هوني 15 years. عندك مازالوا 5 سنين اخرين بعد الكول ديت. 5 سنين وانت تربح في $50 على كل بوند. شوف في قديش من البوند عندك. اوكي. So هوني the company will make هاك ال refund strategy, will issue new bonds that pay 5% interest only and buy back the bonds اللي يعطيو في 10% interest to reduce كما قلنا the interest expense. But a 15-year bond with 10% semi-annual coupon and 1,000 face value has a nominal yield to maturity of 7.5%. When the interest rates in the market required yield to maturity was 7.5. The bond, which may be called after 5 years, has a nominal yield to call of 5.54%. What is the bond call price? Donc هوني نعرفوا yield to call. What is the call price of the bond اللي باش يعطيك هاك اليالد تو كول اللي هو 5.54. باش نعمل؟ First thing to do, we need to determine the price of the bond نتاعنا ساعة قداش. Of course, the price of the bond, نتاعنا تعطي $50 each semester خاطرها semi annual bond, 5% each semester, 5 times 1,000 تعطيك $50. Number of years until maturity هما 15 years, donc عندك 30 semi-annual payments. وبار value to be received 30 semesters from now. والyear to maturity نتاعنا هي 7.5, donc semi-annual هو 3.75. Discount all the future payments to be made to get your current price اللي هو 1,222.86. So someone who wants to buy this bond must pay 1,222.86 to buy it. So هذا amount paid by an investor. باش ياخذ البوند هذا اللي تعطيه 10% interest with semi-annual payments. Since the bond هذايا can be called after 5 years. If the yield to call هو 5.54%, what will be معناتها راهو discount rate that makes present value of the future interest, present value of the call price paid 5 years from now, 10 semesters from now, the present value using هال 5.54 annually معناتها الشطر نتاعها 2.77 each semester must equal the price you paid to buy this bond. دونك نحط في الايكواليتي نتاعي هذيا the known amounts unknown amount هو الكول برايس ونلوج على الكول برايس نتاعي. دونك نجي لهذايا we subtract from it present value of the future interest during 10 semesters خاطرها will be called 5 years from now after 10 semesters اللي باش تلقاه you multiply it by 1 plus 2.77% power 10, you get the call price of the bond. This call price will allow you to earn annually 5.54% if the bond is called 5 years from the issuance inter. And if you pay, of course, the current price of the bond to buy it. Is it clear, Yasmin?
Yes.
والله هذا البونز نتاعنا شفنا فيهم mainly valuation نتاعهم الكل. Of course عندنا different categories of bonds. خاطر كل company تنجم تعمل bond وعندها feature حسب الديماند نتاعها. of course to answer demand نتاع الانفستر زاد، خاطر كل انفستر يلوج على حاجه. عندنا different categories of bonds. فما for example convertible bonds. شنو هما convertible bonds؟ هما bonds that can be converted, exchanged for common stocks. اوكي؟ دونك الهولدر of the bond اللي يسموه the bond holder عنده الاوبشن to convert البوند نتاعو into stocks، يردهم ستوك اذا يحب. warrants هما long term bonds to buy a stated number of shares of common stock at a specified price. دونك عطاتك الاوبشن هذايا باش تشري هالستوكس ببرايس معين. اوبشنز تو تشوفوهم هذوما في الفاينانشال ماركتس، تقراو اكثر الحكايه هذوما الديتيلز نتاعهم. البوتابل بوند عكس الكولابل بوند. الكولابل بوندز قلنا الشور اوف ذا بوند عنده الاوبشن تو كول ات، هذه لا، الهولدر اوف ذا بوند عنده الاوبشن تو سيل ريسيل if you want البوند نتاعو to the issuer. Income bonds they pay interest only when the interest is earned by the firm. دونك عنده linked بالrevenues نتاع الكمباني. Indexed bonds هما يعطيو interest based on the inflation rate في الماركت. عندنا نجمو نلقاو زادا المورجج bonds. المورجج bonds هما bonds backed by fixed assets. ايش معناها؟ معناتها تلقى البونز هذه عندها كولاترال، عندها ضمد، عندها ضمان اللي هما assets of the company. هوني to reduce الريسك نتاع الانفستر. نقولوا له راهو هاك باش تشري البوند هذوما، والبوند هذوما راهو لو كان صارت مشكله راهو يعطيوك الحق انك باش تاخذ بورشن من الاساس نتاعنا، باش نبيعوا الاساس نتاعنا باش نجموا نخلصوك، سيمبلي باش يكونوا اقل ريسك. ديبنتشر هما الانسيكورد بونز، هما بونز عندهم ريسك كبير. Subordinated debenture or bonds having a claim on assets only after the senior debt has been paid off. هما bonds اللي الرانكينج نتاعهم في الريمبورسمنت بعد السينيور ديت نتاع الكامب. دونك هوني different categories of debt of bonds. واحدة تعطيك ادفانتج على الأخرى، واحدة فيها ريسك أكثر، واحدة فيها ريسك أقل. هذا if you want the idea behind البونز هذوما. فما الانفستمنت جريد بونز. شو هما الانفستمنت جريد بونز؟ هما بونز اللي يصلحوا للانفستمنت as simple as that. اللي هما البونز وقت شو معناها تعمل انفستمنت؟ انه you invest your money to buy a bond اللي باش تعطيك interest واللي you are معناتها ريسك شور انك باش تاخذ الانترست هذاك. خاطر البوندز هذوما الجريد نتاعهم باهي، الريسك نتاع default risk of the issuer is very low، اللي هو تلقاهم ال A bond ولا B plus bond ولا B واحد B or higher bonds. هالبوندز هذوما الديفولت ريسك نتاعهم صغير. دونك if you buy them you are sure to receive the interest في الديتس نتاعهم والماتوريتي فاليو في الديتس نتاعهم. عكس هما the junk bonds. junk bonds هما bonds with a high risk. البونز هذوما فيهم يلد كبير. معنى علاش؟ خاطر البوند هذوما يتباعوا برايس صغير برشا اول حاجه، والريتيرن required on this bond is high خاطر investor will bear a high level of risk so he will demand a high compensation. دونك يتشراو رخاص خاطر الريسك الديفولت نتاعهم كبير، نسميهم the junk bonds. دونك هذا mainly يا جماعه البونز نتاعنا الفيتشر تاعهم and how to evaluate them. دونك حكينا على الvaluation نتاع البونز in this chapter. Next chapter ان شاء الله we will talk about هاك ال RD yield to maturity, هاك ال required yield to maturity, the required interest rate on this bond, the market interest rates, how we set them. أعطيتكم introduction صغيرة في first chapter باش نشوفوا the different component of the interest rates and the term structure of interest rate. هذا chapter 5 ان شاء الله. After that نشوفوا another chapter على البونز اللي يحكي على the risk of the bond, the sensitivity of the bond اللي هما captured by the duration والconvexity. نشوفوهم شنو هما بالضبط. دونك مازالوا لنا two other chapters يحكيوا على الفيكسد income securities اللي هما determinant of the yield to maturity chapter 5, duration and convexity of the bonds chapter 6, ويقعد لنا اخر chapter ان شاء الله اللي هو حاجه اخرى جمله هي corporate finance شويه اللي هي the analysis of financial statement analysis اللي باش نحكوا فيه على different ratios, how to measure the profitability of the company, how to measure the liquidity of the company, وعندنا different other ratios to judge, if you want, the efficiency of managing the assets, the liabilities of the company, etc. So we still have 3 chapters to cover يا جماعة. دونك هذا الشابتر نتاعنا 4. عندكم التوتوريال موجود اذا كنت تحبوا تراجعوا بيه بعد تكملوا التيرم نتاعكم ان شاء الله. نكملوه ان شاء الله الجمعه الجايه بعد لا نعملوا بون الجمعه الجايه لاندي انتم تعديوا اكزام هكا ولا؟
اي
دونك الجمعه الجايه ماناش باش نقراو. الجمعه اللي من بعدها ان شاء الله، والا بالكشي نلمكم انتم والجروب الاخر ونعملوا سيونس زايده من عندي انا جست نقدموا فيها شويه في الكور.
مسيو
ايه